Hey, Rainbow here, and how are you? It is time to revisit gas mileage on this puppy right here. I did have a video where I clearly showed you, I took photos, I did get 47 miles to the gallon. I will link that right up here somewhere. You can see it. Have I been able to come even remotely close to that since then? No. Let's dive into my spreadsheet and let's go over that and we'll talk about that. And then we'll come right back after that.
Well, let's take a look at the spreadsheet. So far, I have filled this thing up since I picked it up. Now, I did pick it up with a full tank. All right. I have filled this thing up 25 times so far, purchased about 103 gallons. Says I've gone 3,399, but I just did like another 50 miles since then, but that doesn't count for anything. And, well, let's look. My average miles per gallon here is 32.81. I refill with an average of 4.32, which essentially means that I'm about a gallon and a half short, so I kind of bring it in somewhere when I have around 40 miles to the gallon left. All right. In the beginning, with number one, you can see I put in 3.5 gallons. It's the first time I was filling it up. I averaged 30.41. Then I averaged 30.52. And I'm like, hey, this thing's pretty consistent. 29.93, really consistent. 31. And then I hit the 700 mile mark. I had the bike, the first service done at around 720. And, well, I got a little more comfortable with the bike. I decided to open it up a little bit because we have to have the reduction, of course, in limiting your RPMs to 6,000 during the break-in period. And all of a sudden, bam, I dropped 2 to 3 miles to the gallon from 28 miles to the gallon average, went to 27. Then I started taking it on the highway, you know, and a mix of things, 34, 34, 30, 33, and then this 40.63, I went 179 miles. At this point, this was the furthest that I had gone in between refills, to 179 miles. And that was when I had 110 miles straight on the highway with a tailwind averaging the 47 miles to the gallon, and then finished it out the other 60 some miles on kind of stop and go traffic, and brought it down to 40. Haven't been able to touch that or really come too close to that, except a little bit later on. Then go from 40 down to 29. Hey, that's like an 11 miles per gallon swing. 31, 32, 37. Now I'm starting to be a little bit more conscious, but then I want to have some fun. I want to have some fun and barrel around. What happens? I'm down to 30 miles to the gallon, back to where I started. Did get it up to 39.08. Again, that was taking a longer trip, staying on the highway the majority of the time. That's as close to 40 as it has ever gotten, period. 32, 32, and then recently I kind of was driving back and forth to work in rush hour traffic, and that bumped me down to 28. So as you can see, if you look at this line, it's really all over the place. We've had some real lows. Some of the more recent stuff isn't on here because I didn't update this chart that I built here. But the bottom line is I'm averaging 32 miles to the gallon, almost 33. And it's not bad. It's not great. But again, how you choose to ride and what you do with your right wrist, that's going to make all the difference in the world.
So as you can see, your mileage is going to vary. You know, we're looking at a low of 27. We're looking at an average high of 40. And the 40 was when I went 110 miles in one direction and was averaging 47 miles to the gallon, pulled over, got gas, or actually didn't get gas, and then continued on the rest of the way, more or less in traffic, and ended up averaging 40. I haven't even been able to do that. I really haven't been able to get anything past 36, 37 on the highway. So that 10 mile an hour because of a tailwind kind of shows you how much the wind affects you on this thing. Now, you want to carve the canyons, you want to have fun, take this to a track, just blow around, don't care, it's your escape. You can care less about the gas mileage, all right? I mean, what should your expectations be when you get a 1200cc bike that has 170 horsepower? Probably not all that great. However, if you want to plan a long trip and you're going to do some touring, well then gas mileage is going to be a little more important to you. And you're going to have to adjust how you drive in order to do that. So it seems like keeping it on the highway about 72 miles an hour is about like a sweet spot. It seems to be for me. When I set it to 74, 75, 78, I'm not even coming close to that 47 miles that I got with the tailwind. And it's rare that I even get up in a neighborhood going in one direction on the highway anywhere near 40 anymore. Don't know what changed, but apparently that tailwind really helped a lot. So, great bike. Gas mileage, I mean, it literally swung 20 miles to the gallon difference. That's the part that I really have a hard time grasping. 20 miles to the gallon difference between kind of the lowest and the highest. Quite amazing. But on the highway, it seems to be pretty darn good. I'm not going to complain about 37, 38, sometimes pushing it towards 39. But with a 5.8 gallon tank, as you can see, you're going to get close to 200. If you're careful, you can get over 200. I just have a bit of a safety factor in my head, and I like to stop in about 170, 180. But overall, I'm going to say it's probably about 170 mile an hour, or about 170 mile tank. All right. Anyway, quick, simple, easy, something to go over here and talk about this puppy. Love the bike. Disappointed with the gas mileage difference. However, it's not why I bought it. So it's slightly important to me when I go on longer trips, but really, I think my expectations are a little bit too high. So how does this compare against some of its competitors with gas mileage? Let me know in the comments. This is Jeff. I'm Rainbow. Take care and like and subscribe if you want. Have a good day.